So the Eastern Conference Stars come up led by Maravich. Tomjanovich hits the pistol, top of the circle. It's a 1-point West lead as they come down.
Well, John, that leg doesn't look too bad to me. Maravich, he might have a good shot at MVP also.
I talked to him before the game, and he says it's weak, and he wants to get rid of that brace at the end of the season, but he has to wear it this year.
Gervin goes to the left, and Erving lost control of the ball on the turnover. And Westphal from behind the back to the attack. Whistle had sounded chance for the three-pointers. He threw the foul. Oh, Westphal has stood out in each of the last two.
Well, Westphal is a great offensive player, and it's cold outside, and he's beginning to heat it up in here. You'll see he comes right in. The lane opens up right there. He just takes it to the hoop, doing what he does best.
Speaking of heating up, that roar was for that man, number 16, Bob Lanier. He's in his 7th NBA All-Star game, and he was added to the team by Commissioner Larry O'Brien because of the injury suffered by Doug Collins.
We have his injury right there. He's got some problems with his eye. He may not get rolling yet.
We also have Calvin Murphy in the game at this point, and I know that Calvin is excited to play in this one, so let's give him a look early.
6 points for Westphal already. 15-11 on the strength of that free throw. Maravich with 6, leading the East. And here's the little man, Calvin. Battling for the rebound. East touched it last. It'll go now to the West. And we've got our first timeout here in Pontiac. So the largest crowd to ever see an NBA All-Star game is on hand here at the Silverdome. It's in excess of 30,000. We'll be right back with the West leading 15-11. Saw Gene Hsu last night, speaking of that city, and they're doing fine, aren't they? They pulled ahead of Portland out there in the Pacific. Kareem with his first hook shot.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from Davis PHO.
So far, Westphal and Maravich have been the hot shooters in this game. The East and White. Here's Calvin Murphy to Lanier. George Gervin still there. Rudy Tomjanovich and the doctor. Quick pass to Calvin. Gets open.
Well, the amazing thing, John, about both teams is the fact that they worked the play so well early in the ball game.
That time he set up very nicely behind a pick and took that open jumper.
Dennis Johnson of the Supersonics on the floor as Marques Johnson missed that shot. Scooped up by Thompson to the glass.
Basket was good by
And the
Thompson.
basket counts, and he was fouled. So here will come David.
Foul on number 16, Bob Lanier.
Well, it's tough when you got a max truck as big as Bob Lanier. You try and get that thing set right there. David Thompson comes right over the top. Lanier is in there too late. Thompson gets a chance at a couple of free throws.
Bob Lanier acting a little bit on that, too.
6 points for Thompson. Murphy to Gervin. Slides the baseline. The doctor wants to crash inside. Was slammed by Kareem. This is the doctor's kind of showcase. Not too many plays. Let's just go wide open. Like
when he can get into a one-on-one situation, wide open spread floor, he can really put on a spectacular show. The problem so far today, he has not taken the ball with him. He's gone in the air, but no ball.
Maurice Lucas of the Trailblazers checking in for the West.
So many times in the game like this, the players really try to get to the basket a little too often. They pass up the outside shots, and I think if they start hitting a few of those, it'll open it up for Julius and people with that ability to give a good one-on-one show.
And Walter Davis, last year's Rookie of the Year from Phoenix, now on the floor for the West. Dick Motta and Lenny Wilkens go to their benches, and what benches they are. Thompson comes out. Dennis Johnson. Lucas has gone to the floor. Now he's back up. Kareem inside to Thompson, and he is stuffed but foul. Elvin Hayes and Julius Erving, and the foul is against the doctor.
That's his second, the team's fourth.
Well, this is the only midget that hangs around underneath the basket right here. Thompson on his pogo sticks right there. He tries to take it up over Erving and Elvin Hayes. He gets it batted back, but he also gets the free throws.
underneath, the West is not scoring. McGinnis with a couple, Marques with a couple, and Jabbar with a couple. So only 3 field goals out of that talented front line right now. He's doing very well inside on defense as they did that time. Lanier forcing the ball back outside.
Brett, there's so many offensive stars in the game that when you get in a situation like this, you'll find that they also really start to play defense.
David
They don't want to be
Thompson.
embarrassed at the other end.
It's 22-15 as the West opens it up. Murphy goes diving for the ball, and as he lost it, he was tied up by Dennis Johnson.
Now, Murphy's still got a little excitement in him. He's still so happy to be here. He's not gotten himself under control. He's flying all over the court. He's got the one basket, but he's not really been able to get himself under control. We'll see what happens. He's going against the Skyjack here and Dennis Johnson.
Speaking of Skyjacks, here's the big band from Chicago. Artis Gilmore checks in, and Kareem will take a break. Won by Dennis, who tapped it off to Gilmore. So the West will come down now with Dennis Johnson, David Thompson, Artis Gilmore, Davis, and Lucas, who just had the ball knocked away by the Big E, Elvin Hayes. Hayes has never missed one of these all-star games in his career. Houston, Washington, San Diego. Davis spins in and out. Goes back now to pick up on defense. Here's Murphy. The doctor.
The East would be best at trying to run, get down in a spread floor situation. The West seems to be much better at setting up and getting the
Maurice
outside shot,
Lucas
working the ball.
from David.
Hayes comes back down on Maurice, who just scored on him. So Lucas and Hayes trade field goals. Lucas has it knocked away. Gilmore with a hand on it. Lucas. Knocked free again. Calvin Murphy down the foot race. It's 3-on-2 under his legs. The doctor not ready for it.
Calvin got a little excited that time and ended up making a bad pass, but I'm sure that he wants to make up for that one somewhere along the line.
Doctor is just saying to Calvin right now, he's saying, Calvin, Henry Bibby didn't hit me with one of those last week. I wasn't ready for it.
You see, Calvin has the ball right in the middle, and they got an excellent break. He sees Julius Erving on the wing, but he doesn't give it up to him.
You're responsible for that. He's going to throw the board. If you make it, that's the hit the board. That was Dick Motta talking to Calvin Murphy about hitting the board.
Jack Sikma replaces Artis Gilmore in the West lineup.
Artis Gilmore has come out of the game because he gets hit right here. He got a finger in the eye. He's going to be looked at. They're over at the bench right now attending to him.
So Jack Sikma of Seattle will work against Lanier in the pivot. Bill Jones over there attending to Artis, the doctor alongside him. Lucas gets Hayes up in the air and drew the foul. There's
Foul
Artis
number
being
11,
tended to.
Elvin Hayes. That's his first.
Is that a bloody nose, I believe? Yes, it is.
Maurice Lucas at the line, 3 to make 2.
So the East now over the limit with 5, the West with 3.
Brent, the West should have really come out in business suits. I mean, they have been very businesslike about this game all evening, last night, today. Ever since they've been selected here, they've been very businesslike about their approach.
Bobby Dandridge out there with Bob Lanier, Julius Erving, Elvin Hayes, and Calvin Murphy for the East. It's a 5-point lead by the West. Great pass by Davis to Dennis Johnson. Knocked free. Murphy to the attack. Here's the doctor.
Calvin got it back that time. A beautiful 3-on-2 fast break. He hit Julius with a pass he could handle.
Dennis Johnson.
Dennis Johnson.
Again, you see Murphy in the middle and Erving on the wing. This time they capitalize. He gets it down.
Lanier just drives on 6 and then missed the left-handed shot. Thompson travels.
Traveling.
Otis Birdsong of Kansas City reports in for Lenny Wilkens and the West. And the West elects to call a timeout right now. For turnovers, 7 against the East and only 3 against the West, and that's been a difference. It shows on the scoreboard with the West up by 5.
This man played in 12 All-Star games, most valuable player 3 times. Oscar Robertson, the Big O. You must really get up for this game.
Oh, it's a great classic when I played. I enjoyed it. Basketball was my life then.
How about now? What you doing?
I'm in the construction business, but I'm here doing a job for the Pepsi Hot Shots.
It's the closest I ever got to you since I guarded you.
No, you got closer than that a few times, Rod. Believe me.
All right, Oscar. Let's go back to Brenda. Boys, more basketball.
Oscar was fouled on every shot, and Hot Rod noticed it, and so do the officials. Oscar looks great. He's put on a little bit of weight, likes to play some tennis. He's got a daughter who's 5'10", becoming a marvelous athlete herself. All right, back here in the white right now, Eastern Conference All-Stars. Julius outside. Off iron down off Elvin Hayes' hands. Hold on, says Matt. We got a loose ball foul underneath.
Elvin Hayes got real good inside position that time. Maurice Lucas tried to take it away from him, getting called for the foul.
He wanted to know how he could jump with all that weight on his back.
It's a 5-point Western Conference lead right now. The East with possession. Pete Maravich going to check in soon. Hayes up high with the bounce, but didn't go down. Sikma's off. Davis to the attack. He's lightning quick, and he can come through, I'll tell you. Fine offensive forward who moves so well without the ball. There he is, popping out to get it now. Looking for an open man. Here's Birdsong. Goes back to Walter Davis. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Lanier.
2 minutes. 2 minutes left.
Calvin Murphy down the right side. Slides inside. Throws up. Elvin Hayes missed it on the out. Walter Davis off to Birdsong, who is hustling on the left, and Dennis Johnson taps it in.
Will do for you. Walter Davis just flew past Bobby Dandridge and got it down, got him a quick opportunity, and they followed up.
On the turnover, it's Birdsong. Lucas slows to regain control. Hits Davis. Neither team shooting particularly well here the last couple of minutes. Dandridge.
Well, I thought they might have told Murphy to release and come back. What's he doing underneath the board?
Minute 10 left in the first period here at the Silverdome. Lucas gets Hayes up in the air again, and Elvin looked a bit lost there, and so Lucas threw up the shot. Davis.
Walter Davis.
Dennis Johnson going with the doctor and a little too closely fouled him.
One of the things in playing against Julius Erving so many times, you never wanted to give him that baseline, because once he gets toward the hoop in that position, he's almost impossible to stop. You try and get him into a situation where you can get some help, because he can't be guarded one-on-one.
Embarrass you one-on-one.
Here's the penalty coming up, 32-26, and the doctor with that last free throw. There's the pistol back. Sikma's the man down in the hole. Artis Gilmore's bloody nose not serious. I'm sure he'll be back. Sikma plays facing the basket very well.
That's where he plays best, when he can look at the hoop and get that little jump shot off. Does an excellent job of keeping opposition off balance because he puts the ball behind his head.
One of the reasons he's so effective in doing that, he keeps his shoulders square to the basket, which gives him a good chance to shoot the ball directly at it rather than at an angle.
Maravich bringing down the clock, and he gives it up on the turnover. Here's Birdsong. Inside for the field goal. Last second, that'll end the first period. So Otis Birdsong takes advantage of the turnover by Maravich at the end of the first period. 36-27. The West has opened up a lead. As you see Otis go to the hole.
They had one chance.
We are ready to start the second period of this, the 29th annual NBA All-Star Game from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, the vast stadium where the Detroit Lions play their NFL competition. And I am sure one of the many attractions that is bringing more and more conventions into this area. For example, in 1980, the Republicans will hold their national convention here in this city. Dennis Johnson throws it back to Maurice Lucas. The Western Conference All-Stars are in the blue jerseys, the East in the white. And it's Bobby Dandridge bringing it up now. The Washington Bullets. This is his fourth NBA All-Star game. He was a fourth-round draft choice. Campy Russell in for the first time. Hayes fouled as he threw up the shot. Maurice Lucas.
East has a very tall team, and Campy Russell playing in the backcourt along with Maravich. That gives them Lanier, Hayes, and Bobby Dandridge up front. They got a lot of height, pretty good. Again, they've had more success trying to run than setting up.
So here's the man who earlier this year became the 10th player in NBA history to surpass 20,000 regular season points. He led this league in scoring as a rookie when he played for the San Diego Rockets. Played 4 years for the Rockets. The last one, of course, being in Houston before being traded to the Bullets for Jack Merritt. And last year, he finally got his wish, an NBA championship. The West coming down now. Second-year pro also out of Houston, Otis Birdsong, now with Kansas City, teaming with Bill Ford. Dennis Johnson to Artis Gilmore. Big fella from Chicago is back after sustaining that bloody nose. Birdsong tightened up by Lanier, who come out on defense. Back into the corner now, Dennis Johnson outside. And Otis Birdsong with an offensive rebound. Good fake by Maurice. Moves inside for the field goal.
Maurice Lucas.
38-29. The West now with 11 minutes to go here in the first half. Lanier will take it up outside. He's an outstanding shooter for a big man. 6'11". Now it's Walter Davis from North Carolina trying to find daylight on the baseline, and he was blocked off there by Dandridge.
Foul on number 10, Bob Dandridge. That's his first, the team's first.
Walter Davis trying to use that quickness, and he gets by Bobby Dandridge to get that block call. Otis Birdsong has the ball out in front.
Quick pass to Dennis Johnson, and goaltending scored. Lanier was up. That's a fine pass by Davis. That's his second good pass.
Well, they've run great offensive set stuff. I mean, it's amazing. They've only been in here a day and been together, and they've run these patterns like they've been together for 3 or 4 months.
Campy Russell played his high school basketball less than 2 miles away. Pass back by Maravich, and here's Lanier again. 2 quick field goals by Big Bob.
Great play by Maravich. He's one of the people in the league that probably sees the floor as well as anyone, picking out Bob Lanier being wide open.
Foul called by Bannock.
Number 11, Elvin Hayes.
Here we have Pete going toward the hoop, and he can see he's picked up by Gilmore. He knows that Bob Lanier is open. With a good fake, he goes into the hoop. 2 points.
That's a sweet wraparound pass right there. Not many guys can make that pass.
Foul was on Hayes and Larry Kenon. San Antonio Spurs, number 35. He was not a bit at all bashful down in Atlanta last year. He threw a shot up for every minute he was on the floor. Walter Davis looking smooth, hitting the passes, and now he's starting to warm it up as a shooter, too. Kenon gives it off to Maravich. Maravich with a brace on his right knee. Comes free. He's turned it over again. Maravich having trouble handling the ball. Westphal wants the foul. And Hayes wisely lets him have the field goal. Back quickly now to Campy Russell of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kenon's on his right side. Campy will take it outside himself. Run down by Artis Gilmore, who gives it up. And here's the man doing it all for the West right now, Walter Davis of Phoenix. Pull-up jump shot. Artis Gilmore with an offensive rebound. Cannot stop Artis right there. Just score it when he gets the ball in that spot. 46-33. The West has opened up some daylight now in this game. Kenon. Down comes the West again. Westphal goes back to McGinnis and Big George. In great block by Hayes, who awaited and anticipated McGinnis perfectly.
The West has just done a better job of limiting the East to just 1 shot. They've come down to Freeland, put the ball up from the outside. The West has gotten the ball off the board, got breaking opportunities, got it down. When they had to set up, they set up, and they scored. They got a 13-point lead.
Marques Johnson of Milwaukee is sent back in by Lenny Wilkens. Hayes was also taken out for the Birdsong. Birdsong so much more effective for Cotton Fitzsimmons this year now that he's able to be the shooting guard, and Phil Ford, of course, running the Kings attack. Maravich to the glass.
That's a pretty play when you're that far away from the basket and they're only taking one dribble to go that distance. You know that he's doing it real well.
Gervin with a great block here on Westphal. Went to the left hand.
Back to Pete on this one-on-one move. One dribble from 18 feet away into the hoop. Good body control for the layup.
Birdsong again.
Otis Birdsong from Westphal.
Now on the floor for the East, we've got Gervin and Maravich. Kenon handling the ball. Campy Russell, and we've also got Moses Malone back on the floor. Russell, high off the glass. Good shot.
He worked on that shot all day yesterday with Calvin Murphy. He lost all the horse games, but he's warmed up today.
It's a very difficult shot to block. He takes it back over his head, and it's tough to get to.
West retains it, and I think you can hear Bannock yelling that we've got a timeout out here. Thompson returns, and here's George Gervin, who won the NBA scoring title, responding to Thompson's 73-point production that final Sunday with 63 points.
Not a bad day. The only reason he couldn't get 70, he just got tired.
6'7" guard. Gervin goes down on defense, matched against David Thompson. Westphal hit in the face by Calvin Murphy. It was accidental, and Calvin knew it right away. So we're going to have a timeout called by Dick Motta. And the Eastern Conference All-Stars, the West, in their dark blue, leads it 54-43. 6 minutes and 59 seconds to go right now in the first half. That's good.
Commissioner Larry O'Brien of the NBA. And understand, Larry, that there's going to be expansion in the future for the NBA.
Yes, there's been a lot of interest expressed around the country from a number of cities, Hot Rod. And we're going to be taking a look at these applications of these cities. We'll go to no more than 2-team expansion by no later than 80-81 season.
I want to thank you for that seat you gave me.
No, I saw you up there. Didn't you just notice I was calling you? You're going to have my seat right after this interview, Howard. I'll go back up there because you're entitled. You've been in this game before.
Thank you. We'll be talking to you after the game with the Most Valuable Player Award. Now back to Brent and the guys.
Why didn't the commissioner ask him if he ever passed the ball in this game? That's what I want to know.
Ever in life.
In one game, I think he shot 15 times in 14 minutes.
Is that right? Here's Paul Westphal. He got a leg up now, if you want to think about the MVP award in this competition. He's been pursuing it for each of the last couple of years. Here's Calvin, 23.
He's always got that leg up, but never gotten it down.
Here he is right now. Gives it up to Thompson on the right wing, and David comes in with a great move. Yanked the ball free at the last second, and it's showtime for the Western Conference. 56 points already, and the frustrated East trying to dig in.
Well, that's Calvin Murphy coming back at you. He just feels like they're doing a little too much. Watch Thompson, a little show and tell way up in the air and just glides in. Nice that you can jump that high.
Gilmore looking for an open man. Shot clock inside of 10. George McGinnis.
George McGinnis.
So that's 58 points with still 6 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the first half in this all-star game. And if you like shooting, you're going to love the rest of this one. Here they come again. Westphal. Again, Westphal trying to draw the foul as he came to the glass, and he almost lost control that time.
Well, the West has just had great defense, taking advantage of all the loose balls and turnovers, and great offense that they're in.
13 points, Steve, for Westphal already in this competition. The East has turned it over. They are completely frustrated right now.
They're giving up a lot of cheap baskets. That must be about the 5th fast break. No, one person just going to the hoop with no defender back. They have to get much better floor balance to get back into the game.
Hot Rod Hundley has found his next guest. All right, David Thompson now, bringing it up. Here they come. They have been awesome so far. The Western Conference All-Stars in blue. Big George of Denver. Ball inside to the Gilmore. Who rolls in that
Artis Gilmore.
They're unstoppable right now. Gervin picked up by Thompson. Calvin Murphy lets the Doctor have it inside. Doctor dishing it off, went out of bounds, and the East will keep possession as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar checks in, and I believe Bob Lanier will soon be in also. Yes, here he is from the Eastern Conference Stars. You can see him there in the background.
The thing that the East must do now is just put the ball in the air. They have tried to make the big, spectacular passes. In some cases, they've been successful, but they haven't gotten the ball in the air enough to really get a chance to score.
Doctor quickly hits one. They've scored 47. The West up with 62 and 5 minutes to go in the first half. Tomjanovich will soon check back in for Dick Motta, too. Thompson and Westphal in the backcourt. McGinnis, Kareem, and Marques Johnson back. Give and go to McGinnis, went to the left hand. Tapped it back in on the other side.
George McGinnis had the flu yesterday, and he certainly doesn't show it today.
Worked on his offensive rebounding that time. Got a great pass from Jabbar inside.
Campy Russell to Lanier. Lanier giving it up, and they lose it on the turnover. It'll go to the West.
Well, he begged for this one. Please let me have it. You'll see the cutter comes in. McGinnis makes a great move right there to get himself righted and up at the hoop. He can't get it down the first time, but second time he does.
McGinnis has fouled out of 14 games with Denver this season, and that team is 1-13 in those 14 games. Demonstrates his value as he puts it down, and he was fouled that time. So George McGinnis, formerly of Indiana, and then with the Philadelphia 76ers, he has scored 386 points from the foul line. So that ranks him second this year in the NBA, and here's the big horse.
George McGinnis been to the free throw line more than anyone else in the NBA this year. He's averaging about 11 free throws a game.
The thing is, most of the time he's against a person who's much slower, and he takes advantage of his quickness. He's 6'8", but he plays like a guy who's 6'3" or 4.
Demonstrating that one-handed form. That is 66 points for the Western Conference All-Stars with 4:20 to go. George Gervin rolling one up and in, and you can hear the whistle. There was also a foul on it. So magnificent George Gervin, who certainly is one hot hand who could help bring the Eastern Conference back into this game if he can erupt that high arching shot. 6'7" guard.
The way they'll be successful in getting back in this game is to try to get the ball off the board and run. If they can play some pretty good defense that they're in, they'll get a chance to get some breaks and get some hoops.
And the men who are on top and very much in command go to work again. McGinnis giving it up. Westphal gets position on Murphy. McGinnis again, missing this time underneath. Marques Johnson coming back up, and there was a foul underneath.
Foul on number 16, Bob Lanier.
Well, John, we know why these guys came to play right here.
That's right. The winner's going to get $1,000. The loser's going to get $650. And believe me, the West is going at it right now. This may be the best two-way player in the game, Marques Johnson. I think that in his second year, he's developed the outside shot that has really opened up his game. There's no telling what he's going to do. He plays both ends of the floor as well as anyone.
They're playing like pool boys.
Jack Sikma, number 43, has returned for the West. Coach Lenny Wilkens. You would think with the coaching matchups that the two men who guided teams to the championship last year would get the nod. Not so. Dick Motta and Lenny Wilkens had the best records in their respective conferences in mid-January. On the turnover and the steal, it's Thompson.
We have an interesting situation here. Dick Motta has gone to Julius Erving and George Gervin in the backcourt, thinking that they may be able to post some of the smaller guards on the opposite end of the floor.
If they could keep the ball at this end of the court, they may have a shot at it.
And it finally goes down. Here is that play again on the stuff. David Skywalker is soaring to the glass for the Western Conference. They have scored 70 points now in the first half. Abdul-Jabbar turns around at the baseline. Marques Johnson gives the West a second chance. Bob Lanier. Gervin in the middle. Takes once and cuts up and in.
Watch what they have to do. They have to put the ball in the air. They ought to get down quickly and set up. They're not too good at running their patterns and their set offense, so if they can get down and get the quick shot, they got a chance.
Gervin now with 9 points, 7 here in the second period. He has warmed up.
Okay. For Westphal.
Johnson turns around on Rudy T. Lanier with a hand run down by Sikma, who gets it off as he goes to the floor, and it's Thompson inside. Slam back down by Marques.
Marques Johnson.
Marques Johnson displaying his jumping ability.
72 points for the Western Conference with 2:20 to go here in the first half.
Again, you'll see they're playing like they're very hungry. The ball goes off the glass, Johnson inside, no box, a good play.
And Gervin single-handedly keeping the Eastern Conference in this now. 11 points. Kareem rolls in that sky hook. All 4 points.
They got 74 points. They all want some of it. He's begging for the ball down and deep. That's his favorite spot right there. No problem.
Erving on the miss. Abdul-Jabbar has it taken away as he put it behind his back. The doctor was still there, and he picked him clean. Off with the shot, Lanier.
That's what the East has to do. They have to get more than one shot at the basket. That time Lanier was able to put in the layup.
Whistle as Thompson began the drive. And the Western Conference All-Stars have called a timeout. So the East will go to Dick Motta. The West, meanwhile, will go over and huddle around Lenny Wilkens. 1:28 to go, and they've scored 74 points already. Minute 28 to go. Paul Westphal and the Western Conference All-Stars have scored 74 points. The record for one half was set by the West back in 1962, 86. Now give them 75. They've got an outside shot at it. So far in this period, the West has hit 17 of 30, 57%. The East has shot better than they did in the opening period, 12 of 21, also 57%. And it's this man, George Gervin, who has shot the best for Dick Motta in this period. Partially deflected out of bounds. It was off Kareem's hand. It'll go to the East. Elvin Hayes will take the ball out of bounds. So with so much firepower, if they relax, as Westphal indicated they did last year in Atlanta, the East could jump right back in this. Here's Tomjanovich. Looks like a hospital ward out there with knee braces, nose guards. Lanier rolled up a miss, taken down by Abdul-Jabbar. David Thompson off to his left, and here's Dennis Johnson from the left corner now. They're 77 inside of a minute. They're not going to make it.
Well, they're not spectacular, but they're awfully businesslike.
So next we'll have a report from 24 Hours of Daytona. Ken Squire down there covering for CBS. Gervin runs it down. Tomjanovich is off. West comes down on the tack. Here's Marques Johnson giving it back to David Thompson. Dennis Johnson. Here's Abdul-Jabbar. 5 on 5. Marques gives it back. So the two UCLA stars working together, and Kareem with a chance for a three-point play. And hey, there's a grand old man of the NBA, Eddie Gottlieb. I bet he has seen every All-Star game.
He's seen every one of those, and he might have seen the start of that pick and roll. Whoever invented it, he might have been right next to them.
I think he invented this game, didn't he?
I'll tell you, he puts together the schedule every year, and they've tried to do it with a computer, but Eddie Gottlieb comes up with the right answers every year.
So here is Abdul-Jabbar at the free throw line. He's got the Los Angeles Lakers poised for a run at the championship. The last 19 seconds here in the first half. But at halftime, besides Daytona, we've got Pepsi Hot Shot competition. We'll check in on the Crosby Clam Bay Golf Tournament and the Trident Award to the player who received the most votes, George Gervin. Put back up by Tomjanovich, still not there. Sikma off with the outlet, and the first half has come to an end. The shootout from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. 80 points for the West. They lead the East right now, 80-58. We'll go to Daytona. Hot shot. Steve Jones, you and John Havlicek, come on in here now and fill us in on these stats.
Well, you look at those stats, John, and the big difference you can see again is that one team has been able to play better defense, which has been the West, been able to execute better. What do you think the East is going to have to do to get back in it?
Well, the East really has to start playing a little better defense. Their shot selection was not as good, and the reason the West is out the way they are, they have 14 assists as compared to 7 or 9, I believe, by the East. So they have good ball movement. The East is going to have to be more patient with the selection of their shots and play better defense. Well, the Players Association is trying to get the roster back up to 12 men. They were a little too early.
Starting the second half.
So the unknown basketball player is left, and the East will have to do it. With Gervin, Maravich, Erving, Hayes, and Lanier on the floor right now. Starting it off for the West, who were torrid in that second period. Abdul-Jabbar, Paul Westphal, David Thompson, Marques Johnson, and George McGinnis. Westphal hit 6 of 10, and Thompson 6 of 8. They were the two scoring leaders for the Western Conference. 80-58, West in the blue. McGinnis using Kareem as the screen, and Erving skies to the board. Here's the pistol now. Remember, 3 turnovers. You give it up now to George Gervin. Jump pass inside. Julius, 3 offhand. 2 men in blue, and Kareem controls from McGinnis. And here's now Marques Johnson on the left. He's smooth, gliding to the glass. There was a whistle as he came in on Gervin. Foul against George. So if you're wondering when was the last time we had 150 points scored by a winning team, well, Steve Jones got out the record book and found it was back in 1962. And Wilt Chamberlain threw in 52 for the losers. It was the West 150, the East 130. And congratulations to the big guy out in L.A., who I'm sure is watching. He watches everything on the tube in that multi-million-dollar home of his. He has been named to basketball's Hall of Fame.
There was no question about that. A great player who's done a great deal for basketball.
Just a matter of time.
Good, John. He's out there playing volleyball and everything. All right, here's the pistol now to the left. Takes it back from Erving. Westphal checking over his left shoulder for that screen. It's there, but the pass is inside underneath. And the tap-in goes down. So quickly, the East gets a couple of field goals, and Kareem is loose.
Good heads-up play by Westphal. He saw Kareem sprinting down the floor, beating Lanier. Good fundamental play.
And Kareem's now got goggles on, taking them off.
I believe that is the first time I have seen Kareem without his goggles since Westphal almost stole it. Maravich got it back. And I wonder, Steve, if maybe they're not broken and he doesn't have another pair. Here's Lanier, blocked by Abdul-Jabbar. Gervin throws it up. Julius Erving.
At halftime, Dick Motta told him, like an old coach told me, let's cloud up and rain all over him. And that's what the East is doing.
That's some old coach you have. I don't understand that coach. This pass goes inside. There's a foul. Boy, it's a strange thing, Steve, without those goggles, as you watch him in underneath. And the Big E, shades of that duel down in the Astrodome. That was the first time that Kareem was ever injured, as you watch Erving go back over the head with his stuff. Elvin Hayes accidentally got a finger in Kareem's eye. That was back in college days. And, of course, later he went to the goggles just to protect himself. Marques Johnson. Here's Gervin. Easttown can put a streak together. The Doctor. Taken back down by McGinnis now to the West. It's 3-on-1. Here's Westphal going back to Marques Johnson. Blocked by Lanier on defense. And they go down in a heap. We're going to have a jump ball. The applause for hustling Lanier.
Well, you see, the control is so important in basketball. The East had an opportunity to get a break. Julius Erving a little bit out of control, forced up a shot, didn't get it. They came back down. Marques Johnson having a real tough time getting the ball down. He gets it up, but he gets tied up by Bob Lanier.
John, where did Hot Rod Hundley go? Is he over there in that chicken costume here this half?
That rod's liable to show us in anything.
Never know where the rod's going to be. Started out in the upper balcony here today. Westphal going back to Kareem, who was alone. Ricochets off Maravich, misses it. Hayes control now for the East. 82-64.
The goggles have shown up, Brent, so he's not going to go the game without them.
There they are. Erving, perhaps he just forgot to put them on when he came out to start the half.
As physical as it is sometimes, he may have lost it in a scramble underneath the boards.
Indeed, there he goes. Kareem, so the goggles are tucked back in place, and the Western Conference All-Stars are ready to roll again. It's 82-66, 9:28 to go in the third in the NBA All-Star game. An 8-2 spurt right now by the East. Pistol Pete Maravich has made 5 in a row, 82-66. And the West down on the attack. Thompson takes Gervin and rotates over to the weak side. Kareem, turnaround on Lanier. Taken down by Elvin Hayes. They can run to 10-2. Here's Maravich. Wanted the doctor. On the turnover, it'll be the West right back. Thompson trying to find daylight was fouled as he came inside.
George Gervin is home, but he may get a sit on that bench there for a while. That's 3 straight fouls on him. They have really taken advantage of defensively right there. Thompson just blows by him. He almost gets the 3-point play. He's on the line.
So David Thompson in his 4th pro season, 3rd in the NBA, and he has been a member of the Western Conference All-Stars in each of those 3 years. Starter, as a matter of fact, each time out. 83-66 now. West in command. Maravich with a run of 5 straight. Crosscourt on it back to the doctor. Doctor goes down. He was struck in the back. Loose ball foul. He's all right.
Loose ball foul on number 30, George McGinnis.
They were successful on that play a little earlier, and you'll see it coming up. Julius Erving is going behind a double pick. Maravich throws the ball high, but he gets fouled from behind.
5 of 6 as he comes up with a miss, and Irving's got it back to the east. Free ball tap by Lanier. On the fly. It's Thompson to Westfall's 4-on-1. Back now to Marques Johnson.
This is where the West has been so effective. They had a 4-on-1 break that time, and if you give up that many cheap baskets, you're going to be in trouble.
Certainly the one thing that the West has done, and the East is trying to do that now, is just put more balls in the air. You got a chance if you put it up. You got no chance if you're kicking it around in the stand, letting the chicken play with it.
Chicken will turn it into a football like he did a few minutes ago. And here's Marques Johnson of the Milwaukee Bucks. '85 for the Western Conference. Maravich, Gervin, Hayes, Lanier, and Erving on the floor for Dick Motta in the East. Pistol wanted to pass, and Lanier ran down the loose ball. Bob Lanier did not expect to be driving baseline in that sequence. He made the most of it. Johnson regains. Batted away from Kareem and out of bounds. Western Conference controls. Bannock, Evans, Madden, the 3 officials.
The East has just done a better job so far playing defense. They've made the West put the ball up more from the outside, limiting their chances to get those cheap, easy breaks.
4-on-1 at the other end, and the field goal layup is missed. Long past the Westphal. Oh, he is outstanding with either hand. I think he goes to that offhand better than anybody in the NBA.
He and Bobby Jones are probably the 2 best in close with either hand.
There's Kareem dueling Lanier. Gervin, high arch. Yanked down McGinnis. Westphal. Bounce to the corner. McGinnis on the assault, gives it up. Marques Johnson. Pretty play that night. It's like they've worked it together. 89-68. McGinnis now with 4 steals, and Hayes has pounded away for 11 rebounds in this game. Erving against Marques Johnson. Got it over to Elvin. Run down by McGinnis on the fly. Here comes the West. He went to the offhand. 2 Eastern Conference players go tied up. Hayes gets the ball, and McGinnis comes right down on him. And it's going to be a turnover.
Oh, you see McGinnis right there. He came on the break, got the ball. There's 2 Eastern players right there with the ball. They call Elvin Hayes and Pete Maravich for walking. And George McGinnis just did a little dive on top to make sure.
That was a free shot. Moses Malone. Kareem looking for a teammate rather than the shot. It finally gets to Marques. David Thompson goes in there with the Giants, and with that great leaping ability, finds daylight above them. The doctor on the dribble. Bobby Dandridge. Hayes was hacked by McGinnis. coming inside the lane that time on his drive. So we'll have a timeout right now. The foul going against George McGinnis. We've got 6 minutes and 37 seconds to go. Third period, NBA All-Star game, Pontiac, Michigan. It's 91-68, the West in command. My former partner, Phyllis George, is here with her husband-to-be, John Y. Brown, the owner of the Boston Celtics. They've announced their engagement. Congratulations to both of them. They are to be married in March in New York City. Elvin Hayes, turnaround hitter.
Basket is good by Hayes from Gervin. Foul on number 30.
Erving and Thompson, 17 points each. Westphal, 15 points and 5 assists. Our individual leaders so far in this All-Star game.
John Havlicek, what if you're the East of the coach team? What do you tell these guys? How do they get back in the basketball game?
Well, one of the things they have to do is try and get low for some good percentage shots. They've been in a situation where they forced a lot of shots, trying to make the spectacular play.
What about that defense?
The defense is definitely something they have to improve on.
Walter Davis has checked in. On the turnover, Hayes with control. Erving batted it free. And it's the doctor. And the doctor is trying hard to yank his conference back into it. Gervin with the field goal.
Again, they've gone with another tall lineup. They've got Erving and Gervin back in the backcourt. Dandridge and Malone and Elvin Hayes up front. If they can get an opportunity to run, they have an excellent chance of getting back in the game. 5:40 left.
Waited, and the doctor just kind of dropped the hand momentarily, and Paul went to the shot.
Paul's played so much horse, he has all kinds of shots out here.
Hayes at familiar spot. Moses Malone of Houston fouled as he came back up with the shot. And Dennis Johnson checking back into the game.
Number 33.
You talk about familiar spots. Moses Malone down in deep. He's the best offensive rebounder in the league, possibly in the history of the NBA. He gets in deep. He's got to be boxed that time. No box. He's on the free throw line. As we look at Paul Westphal trying to get comfortable, as he's had a tremendous game so far.
Steve, you pointed out his tremendous offensive rebounding. Moses has led the NBA in each of the last 2 years in that category. Set a league record with 437 a couple of years ago.
He has 352 right now, 30-some games left.
McGinnis slides baseline, whistle blowing with the shot going up. Rudy Tomjanovich. If you're wondering about the face mask and the injury that Rudy suffered last year, it is not a direct result of it. That nose was broken again this year when hit accidentally. But it is such a pleasure to see this man back in basketball. He, of course, missed almost all of last season after an unfortunate incident in Los Angeles. And the Houston Rockets are playing well. Our old buddy Rick Barry now on that team. I'll tell you, it's kind of strange not only to not see John Havlicek out there, not to see Rick Barry, no one from the Celtics, the Knicks, or the Warriors. That's the first time in history that those three teams haven't been represented in an All-Star game. So, somewhat of a changing of the guard in the NBA. Here's Bobby Dandridge. He's been on 4 of these teams now. Washington, he puts one up. He came open in the middle. Nice play. Elvin Hayes now playing with those 5 personals, and that's why Dick Motta wanted to give him a break. Davis gave it off, and it was McGinnis.
Real good play by Walter Davis that time. Going to the hoop, found out he was picked up by 2 men, hit the open man for the stuff.
96 points up there by the Western Conference already. Away from Rudy, runs it down.
Control is very important in this game, and the East has been out of control.
Rudy Tomjanovich
in his range. They need more plays like that.
Well, Rudy T., the former Wolverine, grew up 20 miles from here. Put it in. And the big man. Yanked off by Moses. Here's Julius. Erving spins free, and it's Dandridge again. And David Thompson on the foul.
If they play more defense like that, they're going to come up with a lot more steals and be able to get to a situation where they can close the lead. Here we have Julius. It's a 4-on-1. Going to the hoop. Didn't get the lay-in, but on the line for 2 shots. That they're going to come up with a lot more steals and be able to get to a situation where they can close the lead. Here we have Julius. It's a 4-on-1. Going to the hoop. Didn't get the lay-in, but on the line for 2 shots.
Campy Russell returns to
Campy Russell returns, and Gervin leaves. Campy, of course, from the Cleveland Cavaliers, possesses as fine a fadeaway jump shot as you ever want to see, like Rudy C.
All the East wants to do is get within 10 at the top of the 4th period. They got a shot at this basketball game. They're 16 down now, 4 minutes left. Dandridge, they need all of his.
It's 81. So whittling away here in the 3rd period. And Steve, you pointed out, I think the key element strategically, they went to the big guards.
They've gone in with the big guys. They've got Russell now playing guard. They're a little bit out of position, and the West could take advantage of them because they run their set pattern so well.
Guinness, and Kareem didn't expect it, but now he's got it. Boy, he thought it was a hot potato. Did you see him?
It's a good thing he had those goggles on.
Rudy T is off with the rebound. Now here's the doctor who has taken charge of this Eastern Conference team. Tomjanovich rolls in the hook shot. So it's 96-84, and the Eastern Conference has come to life. Maurice Lucas will check back in for Lenny Wilkens. David Thompson, and the East falling back there on defense, trying to stop the penetration. Thompson with 4 seconds in his ass. Good rebound by Dandridge. Lead now to the doctor. Here's the doctor. They are right there. 96-86, and there's the 10 points Steve Jones was telling you about. 2:59 to go in the 3rd. McGinnis is open back to 12. Sloppy on defense. Didn't seal up the middle. Dick Motta now will bring him over. Big smile on Bernie Bickerstaff's face over there. Those 2 guys who head up the Washington Bullets are happy that they finally made a game of it here in Pontiac, Michigan. Father.
The East is coming back, and this is Dick Motta, the head coach, down by 12.
We've been here. We got them right where we want them. We just need a point a minute. We're way ahead of schedule. We'll get a good shot each time down the court. We a little, and if they'll just listen to me. Yeah.
Just listen to the world champion coach.
No, if they just listen, they don't make enough money. They got to listen to me a little more.
All right, back to live action. Thank you, Jake.
Here's Dandridge now, giving it up to Erving. Motta's East is at 55% in the 3rd. They are now 12 of 22. And Julius comes up to the free throw line. You know, one thing we've got to get hot rod on to find one athlete in this All-Star game who will say, "Hi, Dad." I mean, it is running so much in favor of mothers on behalf. Why is it about athletes it's always "Hi, Mom," Steve?
Well, I don't know. Maybe if we had a lot more women involved, they would say "Hi, Dad." Maybe it's just they like to go to the other gender. We see Julius Erving, game high score, 22 points. He's picked a lot of them up. Playing at that guard position, he may ask for a new slot at Philadelphia.
I also think he's brought some leadership here in this period.
He definitely has. He has that quality, and I'm sure that the other players look up to him, and he's playing as hard now as he's ever played because this is his type of game.
Maurice Lucas, banked off by Malone. It's 98-88, and the East can come back now to within 8. Tomjanovich has hit 2 quick ones during the comeback. Make it 3, a pretty shot. Nicely timed by Rudy T. Now it's Walter Davis Phoenix, and we've got ourselves one brewing here in Pontiac.
Momentum and defense is key for the East. They have gotten down and deep and made the West take tougher shots.
They leave Lucas alone. They gave him that shot. And Maurice obliged. Now, East can make it 6. Here's Bobby D to the glass. It is a 6-point game. Erving with 5 field goals and 2 free throws this quarter. And 23-point total is the hot hand overall in this game. 139. Dennis Johnson to Artis Gilmore of Chicago. Walter Davis. 100-92. And Motta is in the game. He's yelling at Bannock. The first time I've seen an NBA All-Star coach up yelling at a referee in years.
You can always get in the game when you get close, though, Brett. We didn't see him in the first half.
I wonder if he brought the fat lady with him.
That's his 3rd penalty situation.
Motta's going to his favorite player, the only one he can look right in the eyes. Here comes Calvin
Dr.
Murphy.
James, line 3, make 2.
The East at this point doesn't have a true guard in the game. They're going to get Calvin in here for a little speed. They've been breaking well. Maybe he can help in that department.
One thing for sure, Julius Erving has been able to use his mobility out in front, get to the hoop, get to the free throw line. They're giving David Thompson a race. He has played real hard, done a lot of jumping, a lot of running early. He may be a little tired. Erving is beginning to take advantage of his size.
Okay, Steve, on the floor right now for Motta. Of course, Irving's at the free throw line. We've got Moses Malone and Rudy Tomjanovich, and we've got Bobby Dandridge out there, and we also have Campy Russell. Now for the West, we've got Walter Davis, we've got Dennis Johnson, Maurice Lucas, Artis Gilmore, and Otis Birdsong.
Well, John, noticed that they took a lot of the showmen out of the basketball game, and that's why the East have gotten back in it.
Anytime you get back to the basics, you're a lot better off.
Why not? It's a working man's town, and Motta went to the guys who prefer the lunch pails to the Rolls Royces. Lucas is left alone that time. You can leave him alone outside, but never there. Here's Dandridge. Julius Erving, who has sparked this comeback. Here's Rudy T. going for 4. Rudy T is on the way. It's 102-96. We're inside of a minute, third period.
Well, you can make a strong case for Julius Erving. He's bringing them right back for that MVP. He's doing it all and got the people very excited.
Every time the East gets a rebound, Julius is calling for it. He wants it.
As the ball went into Artis Gilmore, there was a foul underneath. And I believe the doctor, yes, he is. He's over on the bench taking a rest right now. Well, he deserves it as he sparked the comeback. I really felt that time that Moses Malone may have gambled too much, jumping far out, leaving Gilmore open. So someone had to jump in, and they fouled Artis. And here's the leader of the Chicago Bulls, the man who's carried that team this year. That is for sure. In this period, that run of 4 by Rudy T. The doctor had 14 points, and Bobby Dandridge has added 6 for the East.
It's amazing that Artis Gilmore has never missed a basketball game in the college or pro career.
Isn't that unbelievable, John? All right, here's Otis Birdsong of Kansas City. To the middle. Bad pass. Way in front of Maurice Lucas. Now, 16 seconds, third period. It's 104-96. East now can bring it on up for the last shot. Campy Russell.
Get in front of him. Catch it in front of you. Put some pressure on.
Artis Gilmore on that last shot probably shouldn't have attempted to block it because I don't think it would have gone in anyhow.
Lucas throws it up. And the end of the third period. One in which the Eastern Conference decided to come back and give us a basketball game. 12 minutes to go. 104-98, the West. And the East, trailing by 6, hit 59%, outscoring the West 40-24 in the third period. Here's Campy Russell trying to make it a 4-point game. Can't. Loose ball. Dandridge will give the East a second chance. Campy Russell off again. Out by Lucas now to Dennis Johnson. Gives it to Walter Davis flying down the wing. Davis goes back to DJ. Sealed up by Russell, and here's Gilmore. Comes inside Otis Birdsong, and there was a foul.
A good off-the-ball cut that time by Birdsong. Going to the hoop. Artis Gilmore with his head up was able to pick him up. Potential 2-point play here.
They have run their set stuff much better. That's where they have their success. I'm certain that Lenny Wilkens during that timeout told them, fellas, if we don't have a good opportunity, let's set up and exploit them defensively.
Steve, earlier the commissioner mentioned that the league is going to expand into 2 cities, and the 2 leading towns at this point are Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Dallas. Now others where there's interest are Miami, Toronto, and Pittsburgh, and also being considered St. Louis and Cincinnati. So within a couple of years we will have at least 2 more teams in the NBA. Murphy goes to Russell. Campy coming inside of Dennis Johnson. Moses Malone to the tap in. 5-point lead by the West. Maurice Lucas directing traffic, and the East has gone to that sagging man-to-man defense. Yanked down by Malone, and Birdsong's got it on the turnover. Costly turnover. 7-point West lead.
That time Moses dropped the ball down a little low, and those little people will always be snapping at it if you don't keep it up above your head.
Little guys will always get in the way, and Birdsong did an excellent thing by not trying to challenge Malone. After he got the ball, put it back up. You'll see Murphy right here getting Birdsong, trying to take the charge right there. Murphy goes down, Malone comes out, and again Bob Lanier comes in. You got a little bit more offensive mobility in the ball game than Bob Lanier.
And here is Lanier with Gilmore on him and Rudy Tomjanovich. And his run is over. Dandridge goes back to Bob Lanier, who wants to put it up. Blocked away by Dennis Johnson at 6'4", got a hand on it. Lucas to Davis. Lucas battling under the glass, stayed with it. Watch this block shot underneath. Watch the position.
He told Big Bob, don't come in here with that cheap stuff. He don't blame his cheap. He took it right away from him.
Dennis Johnson leads the guards among block shots in the league. He can really get up. Last year in one game, I believe he blocked 7 shots.
Rudy T. Now he's gone cold, missing his last 2. And Lucas has gone to work underneath the glass. Here's Davis. Can't leave him alone on that wing. That is a fine spot, and Dick Motta thinks the same thing. He wants the huddle over there with the Eastern Conference stars, and I would think he's going to have to get Julius Erving back into this game, because it was Erving who led the comeback of the Eastern Conference in the 3rd period. The West now has gone back ahead by 11, and we'll be right back. All right, we've got 9 minutes and 51 seconds to go.
Well, you predicted it. Irving's back in the basketball game. John Havlicek, he's in there with George Gervin. What do you think?
Well, they have a lot of offensive power, and Julius has been the person that got them back in the 3rd quarter, and I'm sure he's got his rest now, and it's showtime.
So it's the Doctor and George in the backcourt now for the East, and Erving will take Dennis Johnson underneath, and Maurice Lucas battles him, and Erving pops out, and he's tied up. He has to give it up. Now they go to the right. It's Dandridge. The battle underneath. Not there this time for the Eastern Conference. And finally, it's the big man out of Portland, Lucas, with control. Now here's DJ from Seattle Supersonics, the best record in the Western Conference. After going to the championship last year, losing in a 7-game battle against Washington, and then losing their center, Marvin Webster, and Gilmore and Lanier go crashing to the floor, and Lanier cannot believe the call going against it.
Well, they say it's no contact, and Lanier and Lucas are all hot right up there. But you'll see down in deep trying to post up. They try to get that ball inside, and they just pull each other down. You see it again right there, bumping, hooking each other. They both got each other there. Gilmore said, well, if I'm going to go, I'm not going to go by myself.
I vote for Lanier's side. All right, here's Gilmore. Gives it up to Otis. Birdsong double team. Gilmore rolls against Lanier, but can't get to the glass. Dennis Johnson. Off Maurice Lucas. He regains his control, goes to the glass, and drives back in. Loose ball foul as he came up over the top after the missed shot.
Bob Lanier getting a little upset there. He didn't like that call. He didn't like being pulled down to the floor, and that time he was in the thick of the action.
Now he goes down on offense. Here's Larry Kenon. And Lanier thought it was for him as you watch the replay of that. Kenon. Boy, Gervin was pushed completely out of the way that time. I think it's gotten a lot more furious underneath the basket than we're accustomed to.
Well, it's money time right now, and the East is really trying to get back into that time. Julius Erving wanting that ball to just beat Gervin's back down. We got 31,000 people are watching this game today.
Well, a short change to 7:45. 31-7:45 is Sikma. Seattle puts it up in the West, the largest crowd to see an NBA All-Star game on hand, and they've seen a dandy one since the 3rd period when the East went to work. Gervin. Larry Kenon rebounds. Turnaround. And he was fouled. Maurice Lucas came back outside with him, and so too did Jack Sikma. The foul goes to Lucas.
Foul on number 20, Maurice Lucas. That's his fourth.
Well, you see, the East is just trying to put more balls in the air, trying to put more offensive firepower in there. You see, he went up with his shot, got grabbed, he's on the line. They're down by 13, 8 minutes left. A lot of time for them to get back in the basketball game.
You saw how ferocious it was in that sequence with Artis Gilmore and Lanier locking elbows underneath. Kenon missing a free throw, and when you're behind like this, you can't afford to miss now with 8 minutes to go.
They bring some beef in here, John Havlicek. Elvin Hayes comes back in the basketball game. Look for him to be on those boards and right in the thick of the action.
Well, if they can stay on the boards and keep them from getting more than one shot at the other end, they'll get back into it. One of the things that the East has to do, though, they have Julius Erving playing the offensive end from a guard position. He can't crash the board every time because they'll get a break on it.
Sikma. 2 in a row for Big Jack, who has won 5 games. More than any single player this year. Winning basket in the last 2 minutes for the Sonics. Kenon gives it up. Run down by Lanier. And there's a soft touch by Bob Lanier as he moves to the hole. 12-point difference on the floor for the Western Conference. Dennis Johnson, Artis Gilmore, Otis Birdsong, Maurice Lucas, and Jack Sikma. Turn it over on the steal by Lanier. East comes out, and here's the doctor in the middle.
Single roll right there, right over the top of a lot of people to get them back within 10. Erving again being instrumental, getting down in deep, posting up, and giving the ball to the open man.
The West have led by 22. Birdsong, and the East can make it 8 again. Erving waiting on the wing. Every time he touches it, the crowd is ready for something to happen. Tap back, roll ball. They had it that time, and the ball just wouldn't go down. Dennis Johnson to Lucas. Lucas feeds it back to PHO. The Pacific Northwest hooks up that time and works a pretty play. Gervin's man goes down. He came in, and Sikma was there, and he fouled him. So George Gervin, who grew up in this area, that's his first college at Eastern Michigan. We're going to have a timeout. No, we're not. Hold on. We're going to come to the free throw line. Irving had gone over to talk to Motta. Now they're going to break up. Now we're going to have the timeout.
An interesting thing, we got the substitution, Gilmore, who has been wearing them down, and now they bring the finesse man in, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They're going to go with some offense at the end of the basketball game to try and maintain that lead.
Lenny Wilkens, the head coach of the West. They're up by 12, but things are starting to get tight, Lenny.
Well, the East is making a run at us, Rod, and we just got to control the boards and get that ball out.
I know you're playing for keeps. You're down with those X's and O's. You're giving them the plays, and everybody seems to be involved in this game.
Well, you know, I think everyone should be involved. It's an all-star game, and if you give guys just a few things, they can do it.
Okay, Lenny, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Back to Brent.
Thank you, Rod. And, of course, back in 1971, Lenny Wilkens was the MVP in this game. The West won that one 108-107 in San Diego, and Lenny was in playing with the Supersonics, and he led a late 14-1 West surge in that game, so he knows what it is to come from behind in an all-star game. And a man who is showing a little fire, John Havlicek, Bob Lanier.
Bob Lanier has really got involved in this game. He's steaming under there a couple of times. He was locked up with Artis Gilmore. Now Gilmore's out of the game, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's in there. Let's see if he maintains that intensity.
And of course, we'll have that coverage of Daytona after the game in the Bing Crosby Pro-Am tournament. So automobile racing and golf still coming up today on CBS. George Gervin trying to add still another scoring title to the one he won last year. 10-point game with 6 minutes and 36 seconds to go. David Thompson with the Sikma and Maurice Lucas. Dennis Johnson and Abdul-Jabbar out there for the West. Kareem will work against Lanier. Turnaround as Bob thought he was going to go to the Skyhook.
Well, there's not much you can do when he can get to that baseline side and you can't give help. He's another player that's unstoppable. They've got to give him help. Really creep within this game here.
Kareem got a hand on it, too, defensively that time, and Julius saves it, and here's Gervin, and again Kareem knocks it away, and the whistle was sounded.
32. It's 1-0.
We have Kareem on the right side of the floor.
Foul on number 32.
You have a feed in, and now Bob Lanier thinks he's going to go to the Skyhook. Does a reverse pivot here, shoots it off the glass. Nice move.
George Gervin at the line.
George Gervin will shoot one free throw. David Thompson fouled him his third. Abdul-Jabbar with 11 points. George Gervin with 18 points.
Play the ball.
George Gervin may have told Julius Erving to come on out here and learn how to play guard. You may need it later on. It saves a lot of wear and tear on your body.
It's a lot easier when you run from the top of the key to the other top of the key rather than from baseline to baseline.
Speaking from experience, here is Jack Sikma. Left alone is the gamble failed. The East, of course, cannot trade baskets. They still must get a run. And Maurice Lucas reaching in on Elvin Hayes. No basket.
Foul at number 20, Maurice Lucas. That's his fifth.
I wouldn't be
penalty
surprised, Brent,
situation.
if Dick Motta may put Moses Malone in there and really give him a big
Tomjanovich
front line.
returns to the East lineup.
Well, when they had Malone in that
Replacing
lineup, they had an excellent rebounding lineup. He got a few offensive rebounds from along with Ervin and Gervin and Rudy Tomjanovich. Again, they've taken the spectacular players out, the showmen, and they've gotten themselves back in this basketball game. 5:45 left, plenty of time.
Elvin Hayes missing. And here comes DJ. 121 to 110. Kareem being tied up by Lanier. Well, they're really dueling away inside as David Thompson throws up behind. Erving back to the attack for the East. Now it's Kareem's turn on defense against Lanier. Lucas off to DJ. Thompson from the corner. High rebound, Hayes. And the chicken loved that one.
The chicken loved it. Julius Erving's the guy that really made it possible. He got out and hustled on the wing. Gervin took a look and slowed up that slingshot. He got the big grand slam.
So 21 now for the Iceman. Dennis Johnson stepped out of bounds as he drove baseline. They have turned it over to the East. Rudy T gives it back to the doctor. Lanier comes outside. Now Rudy T on the right is open. And if he heats up as he did in the third period, they can jump back quickly.
9 away, John Havlicek. What do you tell this team?
Well, they have to keep playing the way they did in the third quarter and do a little more of it. Right there you see Julius on the little gamble. Almost got away with it, but not quite.
Well, Erving really wants this basketball game. He's done everything that he could possibly do. Play the defense out in front, handle the ball, just done everything. You'll see right here, he's moving. David Thompson, a little bit more familiar at that guard spot, and Erving reaches, looked like he got the ball clean.
Thompson comes clean to the basket. Four fouls against Erving. Here's Hayes.
Elvin Hayes.
3 minutes and 47 seconds. Here's Kareem. Double teamed and fouled. And Rudy T drew the personal, his second. He was moving over to help Lanier. So it's DJ and Thompson. George McGinnis now is back. David Thompson up with a shot and a miss. And Kareem is there as Julius tried to dribble out. Thompson.
Well, when they get them to miss, they can't seem to handle the ball to get the break at the other end, and the time is pulled. They still have a shot, 3 minutes left, but they've got to play good defense and take advantage of the turnover.
They need a run right now. Here's Elvin. And the doctor. And they've gone cold, but the doctor's got it back. Sweet move.
Here we have a shot taken by Julius Erving. He gets inside on the rebound for a good, easy layup. He didn't quit on that play.
So the East readies now for that last run at 2:45. West brings the shot clock down to 5. Inside of 5. Abdul-Jabbar, 2 seconds travel, looking for someone to give the hot potato to. And we're going to have a timeout here at Silverdome. 127 to 118. The West leading. Last year in Atlanta, the East beat the West 133 to 125. As you see our overhead view here at the Silverdome. Lenny Wilkens talking to the West. It's hard to figure out exactly what he might be diagramming right now.
Shot. The ball back. That's the guess.
Go first. Now, you probably have a drive off of, if you don't have Elvin down low for the turnaround, then use Lanier's drive. Make sure you get a good... Bob, you're on a high screen. Here's Julius coming over. You're going to give it back to him. Okay, you come hard as you can, Rudy, here. There. And E is going to come to here, and then you go out and set the screen for Julius. Set a nice screen for him, and you got the give and go on that. We need a basket now. 3-point play would be beautiful. Okay.
All right, go, man.
At some point, all coaches get greedy. Not satisfied with just a field goal. Coach Motta wants the whole loaf. It's 127 to 118.
That's a pretty good job of begging over there by him. Fellas, please give me something. We got a shot.
I'm sure that Lenny Wilkens has told the West squad, let's use up some of that clock, too.
Sikma pops out, and the doctor has to throw it, and Gervin's there. Gervin comes in. Tough defense by the West, a little bit too aggressive that time, and Abdul-Jabbar has assessed the personal. Kareem not agreeing with the call, backed off to the baseline. Popped out on the double team.
They gave him that look. Got to be crazy, not me. I didn't foul.
George Gervin at the line, 1 plus the penalty.
So Gervin trying to become the first guard in NBA history to win the scoring title twice, and of course he could do it in back-to-back seasons. This man has shot 54% from the field. That's better than even Oscar Robertson or Jerry West did during their great careers as guards. Now it's 127, 119 at 210. Jack Sikma. Guarded by Tomjanovich. He turns around on him. Off with the miss, but the East loose ball. Sikma goes to the floor, and we've got 2 players tied up down there.
John, who says they don't want it? The East diving on the floor for the basketball right here. Tomjanovich doing an excellent job of making Sikma put that ball up from the outside. Again, they can't handle that rebound, but you'll see some hustle by Sikma and Gervin.
West controls at the 2-minute warning. Taking their time. East trying to force some missed shots. They'll gamble on defense. They'll go to the double team now and pop out. Kareem. Double team by Rudy. And on the turnover, the East gets the break they're looking for. Here's Elvin Hayes to the slam dunk. So Elvin goes to the whip. He forced the turnover and brought it in. Now it's a 6-point game at 127, 121, and 137. And the East again will try to pressure with defense. They trap the ball out there. Dennis Johnson comes free to McGinnis. Open man is Kareem. Puts it to the floor right now. Shot clock inside 10. Thompson's alone. Big basket, and Motta's going to use a timeout. That is a big score by David T. right there, making it 8 again at 124. So we have come down to the last run here. The high scores so far, Julius Erving with 27 and Thompson with 25. They are saying, Steve Jones, don't worry. The men on the floor are going to carry us home now in the Eastern Conference. Here is George Gervin. The last run time, Gervin threw one up, but there was a foul as he did. It's against Thompson. That's his 4th.
Foul on number 32,
and, you know,
David Thompson.
members of the Detroit Pistons Class A chassis are now collecting the most valuable player ballots from the 300 sports writers at today's game here in Pontiac. The votes are going to be entered into the Honeywell mini computer installed here at the Silverdome. Now, a few seconds after those ballots are fed to the system's card reader, the MVP winner's name will automatically appear on a video screen. We will be showing you that and announcing who the MVP is, and we've had a substitution, Steve.
Yeah, Calvin Murphy's come in. I thought he had a shot at that MVP, but he didn't get too much playing time today. They went to the big boys, and little guy had to take a rest.
6-point West lead at 112. Taking their time, Gervin comes out, and DJ picked him up, and Thompson again's left alone, and now he goes to McGinnis. Back deeply to DJ. Sikma's over there. West moves it. Shot clock goes down inside of 5. Crushes time. Rolls the hook up. Erving battling for the rebound against McGinnis. Out of bounds, and they go to the east with 53 seconds. An important trip right here.
John Havlicek, what's the play you would call to get the Easter basket?
I'd probably get it to Julius Erving because he has a pretty good hot hand now. Didn't do it that time, but you try and get it to a guy who has a potential three-point play, which Dick Motta was hoping for on the previous trip down the floor.
Oh, Calvin Murphy thought he was bowling for $1 somewhere. He rolled that ball into Julius Erving. You can't do much with it when it's down on the floor like that. The big guys have to go down, come back up. Erving really never got the handle on the ball. George McGinnis is on the line as a result of it. 47 seconds left, 6 points away.
And 2 big misses as far as the East is concerned. But he hits the penalty. 7-point difference and not much time. The East must hurry. Blocked away. Dennis Johnson, and goaltending is called, giving you examples of just how high that man, number 24, can sky.
They've got to have a good defensive series here in order to get a turnover and get a chance to score again quickly.
Double teaming the ball, leaving the open man, and the 2 guards play with it. Inside of 30 seconds, Murphy comes out on Dennis Johnson and had to foul him in that situation.
Well, they have nothing to do but foul. They got to stop that clock. The West is going to hold the basketball. They've been going for them. 24 seconds is all they have to use up. There's 28 seconds left in a basketball game.
.132 to 125. And that big early lead may have just been too much for the East. Erving on the turnaround.
After J.
132 to 127. It's 20 seconds and 5 points. Across the line, McGinnis drives on Lanier, and he was blocked.
Well, John, foul. You got that much time left. You think McGinnis took a good effort that time. They could have just run the clock out and not even a chance to.
Well, and he also risked the chance of hurting himself going in there like that. And in a situation like this, when you're that far ahead, just ball movement is going to keep it away from the defense, allows you to win the game. George took a chance that time.
And so the Western Conference All-Stars are going to win this game here in Pontiac. A little bit of frosting there. Big McGinnis, the man who played brilliantly in defeat. Julius Erving to George Gervin.
The Iceman,
the shooting range. The Iceman with 26 points. And it is over. 134 to 129. Is the final score. And of course, right now they are tabulating those ballots for the most valuable player in this game. And there you see the Honeywell computer being tabulated. David Thompson has drawn a lot of backing, and David Thompson is the winner of the Most Valuable Player Award. There he is from the Denver Nuggets, the man who they call the Skywalker. Now, let's go to Hot Rod Hundley.
Hi, with me, the commissioner of the NBA, Larry O'Brien, to present the Most Valuable Player Award. And Larry O'Brien, this was the biggest crowd crowd ever to see an NBA All-Star game, over 30,000 fans. Also the biggest crowd ever to see a basketball game in the state of Michigan.
It was not only the biggest crowd, I think it was the greatest game ever. Even the games you were in, weren't as great as it, were they?
Well, I thought it was a great game, and this young man that won it, certainly deserving.
I know there's some disappointment among Eastern fans, but overall, there's great enthusiasm about the game. But beyond all that, David Thompson is the most valuable player, and he justly deserves the award and the judgment, I'm sure, of everyone in here. Let's give him a big hand, and let me congratulate you, David. It was a great game, and you were great in it. Let me present it to you here.
This is the trophy symbolic of the most valuable player.
I don't know whether I can lift it or not, but I'm going to try. David, give him.
Thanks a lot. You know, it was really an outstanding game from the spectators' point of view, and I was just really glad to be a part of it. Glad to see this fantastic crowd come out to celebrate the All-Star game, and I'm really happy that I won the Most Valuable Player award.
David, you don't have a problem getting that baby home. How are you going to get it put in your luggage?
Well, I'm sure I'll get it there some way. You know?
You'll get it there.
All right, thank you, and we really enjoyed the All-Star